guys, welcome back to Cyberspace Investigations. Nintendo, one of the most beloved video game companies of all time, mostly for what they did in the 90s. Everything past that has been a pretty but nostalgia keeps blinding people. But Nintendo has really done some stuff lately that has got me questioning if they're going to go back to the way they were in the middle of the Wii U era, which was pretty much, we're not going to let anybody do anything with our IPs no matter what. So what has happened is, because of, the world, we have Melee tournaments having to go online because, you can't really play in person, so you can't use the actual Melee cartridges, so they use an emulated version of the game with a mod that allows for online play. And that is probably fine in and of itself. As if you don't know, emulation is not illegal if you actually own the game. If that's your rip of the ROM, you have that. That's yours. It's not like, but if you take ROMs from other people and you don't own the game, that's technically illegal. People still do it anyway. So all these people obviously own Melee. It's not like they don't. Like, seriously, if you're Nintendo and you think people competing in Melee tournaments don't own Melee, they're idiots. But anyway, so they had to move to the online emulated modded version that allowed for online play and has better netcode than Smash Ultimate for obvious reasons. And Nintendo didn't like that. They didn't like that people who own the game are using their own ROMs to emulate the game and make a better online system than the entirety of Nintendo Switch Online. So they shut down the entire tournament. Not just the Smash part, the whole thing. And it's not coming back, apparently. At least that's as much as I've gathered, but that could change in the future. However, it didn't stop there, because after that, #FreeMelee trended on Twitter for at least a day and a half, but it's still going strong because Splatoon 2 had tournaments, which, by the way, have these really minuscule cash prizes, like laughable amounts. One of the prizes was a $25 Nintendo eShop gift card. With that, you could buy about a year of NSO, which, why would you do that? Either way, some of these teams in this tournament had #FreeMelee in their team names in some way or some capacity. Nintendo didn't like that, so they shut the tournament down. Revoked all the streaming rights anybody had. I guess the tournament's still on, but Nintendo was also known to not deliver the literal less than $30 prizes they give out anyway. So I doubt it will continue, and people did not like that. So we had Free Melee and Free Splatoon #trending at the same time a few days ago. And let's just say Nintendo's public image was not doing well at that point. Then here comes the third blow. They took down a bunch of music, like just literally ripped songs straight from the game that were up on YouTube, down. And they didn't take extended versions down, but it was pretty much the YouTuber Silva Gunner's, all of his content was focused on like Nintendo song rips. And to be fair, Nintendo isn't making any money off of those, and it's not like he's modifying or remixing or doing anything, he's just putting the songs up. So there's not actually too much you can argue against Nintendo with that one. I was surprised they hadn't done it before, honestly, but at the moment, that's what has gone. All of his Nintendo videos from Mario 64, Ocarina, Majora, everything have just been taken down. Which I guess he was the main supplier of Nintendo music, because those were like the main videos you could watch to get the songs online. But of course, Nintendo won't make an app or release their music on their own channel or anything, because that's too much effort for them, but they're willing to go through the effort to take down other people's stuff. So the Twitter community, back at it again, wasn't very happy about that. But then, So you know Etika, right? Like the, I never really watched Etika, but I was very, I was I knew about what happened with his suicide and stuff, but people have been making tributes to him since his death, and one of those was making JoyCon Boys Joy-Cons. Now, mind you, these aren't like custom Joy-Cons, like somebody reverse engineered the Joy-Con, got the HD rumble and the joysticks and everything, and made their own. No, they would buy the joysticks and paint over them with a paint color on Etsy. You know, yeah, so apparently, because, and by the way, all of the money from these purchases, somebody was making these, and all of the money from the purchases was going into charity. But Nintendo didn't like that because JoyCon Boys was on them, and Joy-Con is copyrighted by Nintendo. So they literally stopped a charity because they didn't like the word Joy-Con being used, which was literally like an Etika thing. So yeah. People were not happy about that either. Absolutely not. And yeah, that is the current situation. Nintendo has just done so many things in quick succession, like what they were doing before, because to me, this is no different than what they've been doing for years. Like they haven't changed. They didn't get worse, they didn't get better. They just have never done this many things in such quick succession all at the same time like this. And so people saying they're gonna stop supporting Nintendo, which by the way, I highly doubt, because you had a Switch, you were looking forward to these games. I doubt you'll not get them eventually. But seriously, Nintendo hasn't been doing anything differently. They're just doing what they're doing at a higher rate. If you've been following the Joy-Con situation for years now, Nintendo has been denying drift, trying to get away from drift. They settled a case with a few people to get the drift fixed, but then the next time it came up, they said it didn't exist, which somebody could use evidence, but we're not going to talk about that specifically. But holy cow. The whole situation, it just feels like most of the internet has turned against Nintendo within the span of like 5 days. It's the internet versus Nintendo, or at least Twitter, but Twitter's always screaming, so what does it matter? But yeah, that's the situation. Nintendo is in a different spot community-wise. You got a lot of people making fun of them in the comments of their tweets. You got a lot of people saying they're never buying Nintendo products again. Just a lot of anarchy going on right now. And it'll be interesting to see how the situation turns out. But that's all I got for this one. So, see you next week for another great program.